An ETF paying a 31% dividend yield. What is going on? Welcome back to 5-Minute DD, guys. Today we're talking about ticker TSLY, which is an income strategy ETF based solely on calls for Tesla. So it's super interesting. I hope you guys enjoy. If you don't mind hitting the like button, helps me out a bunch. Subscribe. Let's get into the pros of this company. It's a relatively new fund. It started in November, but it has taken a lot of people by storm because the yield is so incredibly high. A bunch of people have been talking about it. So we'll start off. That dividend is insane with 31.34% yield. Absolutely crazy. We can see the price appreciation has been falling. It opened up at around 20 and is now sitting at 15, but they have gone on a run from the low of April all the way up 25% to where they're sitting at currently. This fund is extremely interesting to me because I really do like Tesla, and having some income options with Tesla would be kind of insane. There's tons of potential for growth, which is another pro for this. If it ends up not being as sketchy, people are calling it sketchy, and it's sketchy, it's higher risk, there's not a lot of history with it. But if this thing can grow into a really solid ETF, I would be on board 100% because I love Tesla, and making some money off covered call options with Tesla would be great. So the growth is definitely a positive. Tesla's future, I think Tesla is one of the only companies I truly believe will just continue to go up for the next 20 years, if not more so, just because of the industry, the way the world is kind of shaping, how EVs are growing, all of that kind of stuff points to Tesla's future being bright, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Now, this one is actively managed. I put that in the pros because I do like some actively managed funds, and the fee is about 1%, which isn't terrible. It's pretty low for actively managed funds, but for normal funds, it's a little bit higher. So you take that into note when you're thinking about the possible returns you're going to get with this, if it's really worth that extra 1% when you add it into what you would pay to own this thing. So actively managed, interesting. I don't own a ton of actively managed funds, but they can be really useful, and they can be extremely profitable if you find the right one. Now, this thing does pay out monthly distributions. Let's look at their dividend history. So like I said, it went public in November, and so they actually only have a couple distributions out. They started out with $1 and paying out monthly. $1 is insane. I did find a couple different readings from their yield. So if we actually go into their website, which is really crazy, they actually have a ton of these. They have ones on Apple and a bunch of these other ones, but Amazon coming soon. So YieldMax is the company that makes these. I'm going to be watching these closely. I'll probably do more videos on these because they're really interesting, and they just have such high yield so far. They have the current yield as being 61%. Google has it around 30%. Tip Ranks has it around 30%. So I'm siding with the cautious side and saying it's about a 30% yield so far. But jumping into their dividend history, we can see that they paid out $1, and then they dropped it to 90 cents, 90 cents, down to 83 cents, way down to 40 cents, which is really interesting, and then up back to 80 cents. So even 40%, or even 40 cents, is a pretty good dividend yield, especially when this thing is trading for $15. Getting 40 cents every month would end up pretty profitable in the end, as long as it trades sideways even. And it's just been interesting. Some of these they do make me a little bit skeptical, and I'm sure you guys are too. Let me know in the comments down below, is this too risky for you? It's a new fund, it's a really high yield. Some people it is definitely really hyped up, which I do have in the pros section, but that can also be a con, because if it's really hyped up and you get pulled into it, you put a bunch in, and then it slowly fades out of the hype, the price drops, dividend drops, they go through some cuts, it can be a little bit scary. So they do say in the website that it's not, of course, they can't secure the dividend 100% of the time. They can't guarantee, not secure, that's a better way, guarantee. So you are taking on some risk, as most dividend stocks, they all say that they're not going to guarantee any sort of dividend. And there's a bunch of information out about this fund on their website, but there's not much covering the overall fund. I don't even think they have an investor report out yet because it is so new. But I'm going to be checking in, making sure this thing stays pretty consistent. I'm going to be watching this one. I don't own it yet, but I'm thinking about it. Just, you can track all the history of what they're buying, what they're selling, what call. I believe they're doing calls. Yeah, mostly calls. So you can do all that, checking it all through their website, which I do like. You could do this on your own if you didn't want to invest in this fund. You could just make calls on Tesla, but it is nice when they have so much capital at their disposal. But again, even finding how much money they have on here, kind of tough. Net assets, 109 million. Ton of outstanding shares, not bad. So find a bunch on their website. If you're not sure with what I give you, there's more info on their website. I'm trying to give as much information as like I found useful, but sometimes people want more, and you should always go and do more research before you just buy a stock or a fund based off what someone says on the internet. So I actually threw their chart into a one-year comparison with ticker JEPI. Now this is with dividends reinvested. So they have it being at about a 9% return for the full year, and JEPI being about a little under that, probably closer to 8, maybe 7.5. I do believe this is with dividends reinvested because the price appreciation, as we can see on the 1 year, is down about 21%, but that high payout for their dividends is what's counteracting that and make it actually positive. They paid out $4.88 in dividends, so pretty insane. And they've only paid out 5 dividends, 6. So that's a lot of money to be paid out over 6 months. If they continue to do that, you average in another, it'd be about $8 and $9. Their dividend yield would be in the 60-something% range. So, but again, they could cut that dividend. It could drop. That's why it's so risky. But comparing it to JEPI was really interesting. JEPI is probably one of the most popular funds. It's one of my more popular videos. When I talk about it on the channel, people really like that one. It's a great fund, in my opinion, not financial advice. Let's talk about the cons of this company. I kind of already have, or of this ETF. No history. It's almost brand new. 6 months. You don't even have a year of dividends paid out. So anything could happen with it. It could pay out more. It could pay out less. If it gets super hyped up, it could take off. It could drop. The price already has dropped quite a bit from when it first launched. So we'll see. I'm going to start watching the other funds by YieldMax and see how they perform compared to TSLY, which is this ticker, not TSLA. It's hard to find. You have to type in TSLY ETF. Otherwise, Google tries to give you Tesla. But Tesla is one of my favorite stocks for sure. One of the ones I've owned the longest. This one, again, higher risk. Tesla itself is a pretty wavy company. You know, they have a lot of ups and downs depending on news, depending on the market. They're not a consistent stock, and people love that. They love buying options on it because of that. But it is still higher risk. And then you also have less potential growth. If you guys don't know this, income strategies, basically the way that they mitigate or they're able to pay out these high dividends is because they're mitigating some of the risk of the stock, meaning that if the stock doubles in price, TSLY is not going to double in price. So you're kind of trading higher dividend yields for what would be more growth. And that's why if you want growth, you just should buy the stock that the fund is based off of. Same thing with like Apple, the one for Amazon. If you want, Amazon's going to double in the next 5 years, buy just shares of Amazon. Where if you want just dividend income based off of Amazon, you think Amazon's a good company, they're going to trade sideways or go up a little bit every year, then you would buy this kind of fund. So it's very different. It's more of an income strategy, which I have been looking into more so. A lot of my Roth IRA and whatnot, I'm putting into income strategies because I like it a lot. It is super cool. The fact that you get paid monthly is awesome. All of a sudden you start getting $20-30 a month, which is not a lot of money. I understand that, but it's not bad. You can start taking I can go to dinner twice for just money coming in from my dividends. I don't recommend doing that. I reinvest dividends, but that's kind of cool. One of the positives, though, with how young this fund is if you look at like JEPI from the beginning, it wasn't really doing too hot, and then it started to take off as it grew in popularity. It set itself apart from other funds, and TSLY could do that. YieldMax could do that as a company, so I'm going to be watching more of their stuff. I'll do some more videos on there, so if you guys want to see the one based off Apple, I'll dig into that one, see how they're doing. There might be more information out about those ones because they are older. I think so. But we'll check all those ones out and see if any stand out as being better than the rest. But Tesla always has a spot in my heart. Apple, definitely the biggest company on the market. So always interesting to see these new funds that are coming in. We'll see how things are changing in the market. We might be seeing a market flip. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys staying and watching the video. Not financial advice, just throwing that out there one more time. Drop a comment down below about what you think about the video, what you think about TSLY, anything. Let's talk about it. I love learning from you guys too, and I appreciate staying this long. So have a good one.